many years ago, my father drove through the town of Eatonville as a chauffeur. And it made a great impression on him when he drove through here to see the crops on the side of the road and the school, hunger for school. He didn't spend much time, but just that short while going through, he was quite amazed at what he saw. And so he had made up his mind that he would return someday to Eatonville. He grew up at the time when Herbert Hoover was the president, and conditions were greatly depleted in some areas for his jobs. And so they had to go where you can find honest labor. And so they migrated from North Florida to South Florida. And that's how he got the job as chauffeur that landed him his coming to Eatonville. However, he also got the opportunity to go to school, continue his education, although he was behind in school studies because he had to work. He was the eldest of 8 siblings. And so he took whatever job, employment he could get. And so chauffeuring was one of the employments he had. And of course, this employer had him to drive him to Maitland, and of course, going to Maitland, he came through Eatonville, also later to Winter Park. However, going back to the town which he obtained employment, which was Bartow, Florida, one of his instructors was Mr. Mosley. Mr. Mosley's mother resided here in Eatonville, and he taught vehemently about Eatonville and the school, the progress of the school. And of course, my father was a good listener. It motivated him further and wanted to get an education after having seen Hunger for School and also been told about Hunger for School by Mr. Mosley, his teacher. And later on in the 1940s, as he found work, further employment in Orange County later on when he migrated from Bartow to Orange County, he saw an advertisement on a taxi that advertised lots for sale at Eatonville. And I think the price was so low, he said, you can't, it's a good deal. Why not go out there and purchase some of this property that was advertised on this automobile? And so he went out and investigated and purchased land and what we know today as Lake Lovely. I believe he said the property was located southwest of Lake Lovely, what would be a subdivision named Lake Lovely later on. And so he slowly, after he labored in the evening, before the sun went down, he would come out and dig the foundation little by little, bring bricks. And so it took him a few years, but he finally got the foundation for a house. My father, he was a minister, and of course, Oneness Church required him to come to that town to preach, and we relocated to Gainesville. And so there was time spent in Eatonville going to school, and time spent in Gainesville going to school. So I ended up graduating from high school in Gainesville.
I was 15 months old when we moved out of Eatonville in September 1951. These were the first years that I remember. Ages 1 through 9, we lived in Eatonville. And during that time, the first school I went to was Hannibal Elementary in Winter Park. My first and second year was in Winter Park at Hannibal. And then our family relocated to Gainesville when my father became a minister. So in third grade, I was in Gainesville, but then we came back. And we ended up going back here to Webster Elementary School in fifth grade, back to Gainesville in sixth grade, and then we in Gainesville from my seventh grade till part of ninth grade. We moved back to Eatonville, and then when we did return, I was a freshman in high school at Hungerford. I finished my freshman year here at Hungerford High. However, my sophomore through 12th grade, I ended up going to Jones High, and I finished with Jones High School. When I was a kid, the statement, "it takes a village to raise a child," that's true. We had neighbors that look after us. We didn't have anybody paid to come and see about us. We had neighbors that lived down the streets, and they would look after us. When we got in trouble, they told our parents, or they chastised us themselves. So that was good. And sometimes we could leave the doors unlocked because we know the neighbor was going to find out if some strange person came in the yard. They'd ask, "Who are you?" and want to know they're not home. So that was a part of growing up, and I enjoyed. I felt comfortable, but now things have kind of changed, and I don't think we have that sense like we once had about
Security.
neighbors looking after neighbors. And I'd like for it to get to that point again, and be more involved in the street that you live. You ought to be able to know the names of all the people on your streets, and now you don't because it's changed. But I'm hoping that we get back to that point again.